Greetings, humanity, and welcome to Channel Other Doc. I am Jim, I use he, him pronouns, and this is our short campaign of Blades in the Dark. This is a fantasy game by John Harper about a crew of shady characters operating in a haunted industrial-era city that sits under a blanket of perpetual night. As you can see, I decided to go at some point to go nuts with costume props. We'll see what happens if I can, how long I can stand wearing these. We're going to go ahead and go around and say hi to everybody. Feel free to tell us who you are and who you're playing. And we will start today with Speedy. Hello.
Hello, I am Speedy, they, he pronouns, and I am playing as Grift, our lovely little lurk. Also they, he.
Excellent. And now we will head over to Noctua. Hello.
Hiya, I'm Noctua. I'm playing Weaver, who is our spider.
Excellent. And now over to Hollow. Hello.
Hello, I'm Hollow. I am playing Thistle, our cutter. We both use he, him pronouns.
Awesome. I will tonight be playing Professor Sharky, the leech, who also uses he, him pronouns. And as a reminder, you may see us use safety tools from time to time, like we do with the other games on this channel. We're going to be using the X card, the N card, and the O card. If we hit something that's crossing a line for one of us, any of us can type an X in the Zoom video chat or anywhere else, hold up a card, make an X symbol, and we'll back up and do something else. If something happens that we're okay having in the game, but we don't want a graphic description of it, we can type an N in the Zoom chat and we'll fade to black on it or put it behind a veil. So it'll be there, but we won't go into detail. Finally, if we're exploring a topic or an area of roleplay that's particularly intense for us, but we want to keep going anyway, we can put an O in the chat to let us know we're okay and that we're all good to keep piling on the drama. Something else we can do is put an O with a question mark after it when we're moving into a difficult topic, or if we say or we do something and then think maybe that might have been a little too much. Then everyone else can respond to that again with an X, and N, or an O to let us know if we're still doing okay. We're also using the pause. If any of us needs to take some time, we can ask for a pause in the game while we discuss things, or just take a break for as long as anyone needs. As a reminder, just a few content warnings. This game may contain references to violence, darkness, law enforcement, crime, betrayal, deceit, and the supernatural. If you are with us in chat on Twitch Live, you can type !Blades CW, and that will display the thing that will show it there. So feel free to do that if you need to. It'll also be on regular rotation, popping up every now and then. And please remember, we have an open door policy, which means that any of us and any of you can feel free to step away from this at any time if we need to. It's just a game, and mental health is always more important. And now I shall hand things over to our GM, Brian. Hello.
Hello, I'm Brian. My pronouns are he, him. And tonight we are doing our first downtime phase. Some parts of this will go rather quickly. My first question, and I'm assuming I know the answer because of your reputation, but I have to make sure. Are you giving the Circle of the Flame all three of the books?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
Yes, Grift.
I mean, I think so. I think there's a question of if Sharky over here wants to have a look at them first, but
You have had time. There was a gap of time between getting out of there and meeting up with the Circle of the Flame representative.
I think for academic interest, I'd have looked at them, but
Sure.
Again, I am an engineer, so thankfully, I am not as tempted as I would be were I an historian. So I'll be able to let them go.
Okay.
Knowing that I know the people in the circle, so I know that they can put them to better use than I can, probably.
That is a fair point. Just making sure. Well, in that case,
I may copy a few things. But that's about it.
You can take notes.
Especially if there's something in there about how he built a siege engine or anything like that. I might take some notes and stuff like that, but that's about it.
Actually, that's a really good idea, and that is the sort of thing we can refer to later. For example, if you get an idea of something you want to craft at some point, you can easily state you got the idea from one of these folios. So no problem there.
Awesome.
All right. So in that case, we don't really need to role play the meeting. It goes well. Any of you that wish to be there can be or not. Yeah, I figured if nothing else, Weaver's there. So and the although I do have a question, our Cutter. So are you there?
Yes, if Weaver's there, I would like to be there in case anything goes weird.
Fair enough.
Also, a strange question I would ask Sharky: are there any recipes in those books?
Well, actually, there might be. Be a couple, actually. Yeah, I mean, I imagine that it is mostly to deal with sort of obeying particular. Sometimes, yes, there were certain things they had at certain points in the calendar, I think, and so I think there might be one or two hints of them, at least.
Actually, there are recipes. Unfortunately, they all require things that involve the sun to grow. So
that is a problem.
Yes, so many of these ingredients literally don't exist anymore.
Garbage.
You could conceivably come up with a way to substitute some mushrooms, I guess.
An orange? No, I think that someone once told me that's where the name of the color comes from.
Oh, that'd be really weird if shirts were on a tree.
That color grows on trees?
It did at one time. I mean, they've found ways to cultivate things like something not entirely unlike cotton, I believe they used to call it, but they still make garments and things of that nature. So it's in a sense, yes, shirts did grow on trees if you think about it.
I thought trees were poison.
Well,
I mean, they are now.
Yeah. I suppose it also depends on the quality of the shirt, really.
I know that poison grows on trees.
Oh, yes. That is an excellent point.
Anything's a poison in hefty amounts, including fists.
It's all about the dose.
Yeah. Anything can be poisonous if you try hard enough.
But yeah, the meeting goes rather well because it becomes clear that the representative who resembles Professor Sharkey in many ways, maybe a few years older, but that's otherwise you could easily confuse one for the other. And he is most impressed because it's clear he doesn't come out and say it, but it's clear that he was expecting one book and he gets 3. So the good news for you is,
of course, there are 3. It's a folio.
The good news for you is that he mentions that he is authorized to pay you a bit more than he would have otherwise. So that is going to be 7 coin, and you already had 1 coin, which means that you currently have 8 coins. We'll get to what you can do with those coins in just a minute, but I need to make sure I get something over here first. Here we go. Come on. And Thistle, something that you notice is that it's just the representative of the circle that is clearly some sort of professor person, and then a rather severe looking librarian person behind him. And you can tell instantly she knows what she's doing. She is a fellow dangerous person. So yeah, she's basically here for the same reason you are. And she clocks you too. You guys do make eye contact, and she gives you that little nod. And other than that, unless anyone has anything to do during the meeting, payment is made, and he thanks you for your excellent work. So two things happen. First off, you get 7 coin. Secondly, your status with Circle of the Flame goes up 1 level, which means you are now level 2 with them because they are extraordinarily pleased with what you've done. Also, if you look over in the factions, I have added the night market citizenry. I've added them at 0 because the reason I've added them is some of the people that live in night market now are aware that you exist, basically, because you did a cool thing. And among the people that care about such things, they like I said, you've been noticed, but it's not to the point where they it's not to the point where they like you or dislike you necessarily. So interestingly, you've got 0 level with the Hive and 0 level with the people that live in night market. One other thing is that your status with the church does not go down yet because the church doesn't know you did this. The heat that you are going to pick up later in this process is not going to be the church. It's going to be just the general powers that be, due to just kind of general chatter. And again, because you pulled off a big job, though you pulled it off relatively quietly, you are going to be considered people to watch, but not necessarily people to come arrest yet. So that's kind of where you are right now. Speaking of which, though, we'll get back to what to do with the coins, but I will tell you that because you don't have a vault, right now, as a crew, you are only able to store 4 coin, which right now leaves you with 4 coin that you either must spend or divide amongst yourselves. But as this downtime process goes on, you will have multiple opportunities to spend coin, and it may not matter. So you don't have to worry about storing it immediately, as long as by the time you start your next score, you figured out what to do with all of the coin. So there's that. Let me get over. Okay, so that's the payoff. Let's move on to heat, and I've already marked the heat on your crew sheet because let me get over to the crew sheet. Your heat is currently 3, which is not huge by any means. Again, you kept it relatively quiet. I mean, you made some noise in the place while you were doing it, but with the exception of the destroyed generator, it wasn't obvious that anything happened there. You also had the advantage that you were attacking something that the church wanted to keep secret, so it's in their interests not to publicize it either. So your heat is 3, and you've got a significant amount of heat you can build up before you have a wanted level. Your reputation goes up to 4 because you were. I mean, first off, you pulled it off, and it was an impressive thing. You were up against a higher tier opponent, but as was pointed out earlier, the actual stuff you were up against wasn't super high tier. So you get, for those that know, you get a little extra rep for kind of giving the church a black eye. And I think that's everything for now for that section. Let me get over here. So that was heat, that was rep. The next thing we need to do is entanglements. And entanglements is different for your crew because you have slippery. And slippery means we roll entanglements twice and you pick the one you want. So the way entanglements works, if you have low heat, sometimes you just don't get an entanglement, depending on what we roll. But I will explain to you exactly how it works. Because your heat is between 0 and 3, we roll on the first table, and we use your wanted level to determine how many dice we roll, which in this case is 0 because your wanted level is 0. So already we're taking the lower of the two, and then we're going to roll twice, and you get to choose which one. So let's see what we roll. That's going to be, that's just a Yep, that's basically a fortune roll. Okay. All right. Do you want me to roll it, or would one of you like to roll it?
Roll it.
I feel as though we're all disclaiming responsibility.
All right, I'll roll
Yeah.
it. Not a problem. Easy to do. All right, let me get over here.
You should want to roll it. Entanglement's one of the few chances the GM has to roll dice in this game.
That is a really good point. All right. Why didn't it roll?
It did.
Oh,
You rolled a 3 and a 1.
It didn't make the noise. All right, so first off, we have a 1, but I get to roll again. There we go.
Oh.
And it's a 1. Okay, so it doesn't matter. You get to choose a 1 or a 1.
I would like to choose a 1, please.
Okay, good job. That was an excellent choice. All right, so that means gang trouble or the usual suspects. You don't really have a gang, so I think we're hitting usual suspects. So
What does
let's.
that mean?
Okay, what that means is the blue coats grab someone in the periphery of your crew. So that means a friend or a vice purveyor, like someone on your list of friends. And the way that you have basically two choices. You can pay the blue coats off with a coin, and right now you have a bunch of coins. Or we make a fortune roll to find out if the person that they picked up resists questioning. And the options there are that person can end up being harmed, or you can pick up more heat.
I would say we can just spend a coin and make the cops go away.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have so
Yeah.
many.
You
Yeah.
got a lot of coin, and it is sort of a spend it or lose it kind of situation. So fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to knock you down to 7 coin, and this is what I was talking about. You will have multiple opportunities to spend coin, especially once we get into the actual downtime activities, which I think is next, right? Am I leaving anything out? Let me check. That was entanglement. Yeah, we're on to downtime activities. So the way downtime activities work, does everybody have the list of downtime activities? If not, I can. Okay.
Remind me where those.
They are on page 27 of the player kit document over in. There's a good summary over there. I can also put them in chat if you need me to.
Got it.
You got it? Okay. If anyone needs them, let me know. Otherwise, I'm assuming you have the list. And the way this works is everybody gets two downtime activities for free. And then if you want to do any more downtime activities, you either pay 1 rep or 1 coin. Also, one way that you can spend coin is once you have rolled a downtime activity roll, you can spend coin to change the effect level. Meaning that, if it's a 1 to 3, it'll bump it up to a 4 or 5. You see where it's going. If you roll a 6, it'll bump it up to a critical. And the only limit to how much coin you can spend is how much coin you have. So you can do that as well. Sometimes if you're kind of, if you're trying to be thrifty, sometimes it's better to just go ahead and roll and then bump up the level. It all depends on the roll itself. One advantage of that, though, of course, is that you decide whether to spend it after your roll, so you're not like messed up. Now I know some of you have stress. If you wish to indulge your vice, you can try to get rid of the stress. But because none of you have any trauma, you are not required to indulge your vice. If you don't indulge your vice and you have trauma, you take stress equal to your trauma for future reference if any of you ends up with some trauma. So right now, if you want to keep the stress, feel free, but it's also, nobody has a ton of stress, but it can hamper your activities later. I know that only one of you got harmed last time, and it was amusingly enough the professor, not the cutter. But so if you wish to recover,
Generators are dangerous.
as it turns out, those things are man, accidents waiting to happen. So yeah, if you do wish to recover, I can give you the rules for that. If you wish to remain harmed, it will it'll stay with you, and it will basically cause you to have a lesser effect on anything you do.
I feel as though it would be a good idea for me to try to recover. I have one harm. Is that a thing that
Yeah.
requires a
So the
recovery
way-
action?
So the way that
Okay.
works is you basically start a 4-section clock. And the 4-section clock is just called, the professor's recovery. And then what we would do is you make a roll based on. Oh, okay. You make a roll. In this case, none of you is a healer. So I looked over your friends that you picked, and 2 of you have friends that could help. Professor, you've got an what was it? Not an alchemist. Was the
I have
the
an apothecary friend. Yeah.
You have an apothecary that could help you,
Yeah.
and Thistle knows a physicker, and you could just have Thistle introduce you to his physicker. So for no further spending of anything. So that would be fine. Whichever one you wish to use, it'd be the same roll. Because I feel like, given your current level, I feel like the quality would be 2 on that, which means basically we would just roll 2 dice to see how that goes.
Yeah. I'm going to use the. I don't want to put this a lot in particular. It's just I've got an apothecary is like might be able to help me with like just something just some aloe for the
for the obvious burns. Yeah.
The obvious burn of the
no problem.
The electro the electroplasmic burns.
Exactly.
So
all
I'm
right,
just gonna.
So
yeah, go ahead.
All right. So basically, do you want me to make the roll? And I will remind you if. Okay. Here's how this goes. By the way, if we get a 1 to 3, it knocks 1 segment off your clock. If you get a 4 to 5, it'll knock 2 off. 6 is 3, but if you get a critical, it knocks 5 off, and you only need 4. So if you don't get a particularly good roll, you can't spend a bunch of coin, because the way this works is all 4 of those segments have to be knocked off before you can heal 1 harm.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So really what you're shooting for is a crit.
All right.
And you can buy your way up to that.
Okay. And when you say you can buy your way up to that, or what are we talking about again?
It's just 1 coin per level.
Okay.
You want to bump it up, and you would do that after the roll anyway.
Okay. That's why you said you're not spending. Okay, that was why I was like, you can, but you can't. What?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you want me to do the roll?
I am trying to figure out if I want to. Well, that's afterwards, right? Or no, wait, it would be. Do I want to do a devil's bargain on this?
Oh
no, I don't.
You could.
No. This is healing. What is it? Fortune?
Or
what is it?
No, it's more of an ability roll. We just need to find something that is 2 dice.
Oh, okay. I have Tinker and I have Study. Those are things.
You can roll your own Tinker and just do it that way.
Yeah.
And let me check and make sure I'm hitting everything right here. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, unless you want to do a devil's bargain, and I have to tell you, I love the idea of a devil's bargain on a healing roll. But if you do not wish to do a devil's bargain, you could just.
I feel as though it would be a tad premature.
Yeah, it may be, but man, I kind of like that idea.
This is a thought. No, I'm going to go ahead and roll. Not that desperate yet.
Yeah. Fair point.
And this is risky, controlled, desperate, fortune.
Let's see. That's going to be. I mean, it doesn't matter. We'll just call it risky standard.
All right. Going risky standard. Bonus dice 0. Here we go.
You got a 5. So if you spend 2 coins, that'll knock it up to a crit, and you will be fully healed.
So I guess the question is, would we want to invest in that? We're already knocked down to what we had. We have like 7.
Yeah, this would knock you down to 5 points.
That's up to you folks, because I mean I can roll with this, or we can do whatever.
We can't.
The other option you have would be to spend another downtime action to get healed
Also
again,
healing, yeah.
and that would cost you nothing except for that downtime action. That would be your 2 downtime actions.
Spend the whole weekend in the hospital.
Kinda,
Yes,
yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a lot of stuff that we need the coin for, but also like it's not that big of a deal to have 1 harm. The less effect is only on stuff that it would feel relevant for.
Yeah, it's not across the board, right?
Yeah.
Well, I guess what I'll do then is I will coast on this one. I've got all but one. That took out 3 of the pie
it
pieces,
took out,
right?
2. So
2? Okay.
if you rolled a 6, it would have been 3. So the
Gotcha.
5 will knock out 2 segments. Well, I need to actually create that clock. Let's do that real quick.
I've got a little progress clock on my character sheet too. So
Oh.
I can,
Use that one. That's
Yeah.
perfect, because that one's for you.
yeah.
Yeah, just make sure it's a
Um,
4-section clock and knock off 2 of those things.
Yeah, it
Yep,
is.
that's a healing clock.
Excellent.
So
Not
I
bad.
think, yeah. So I mean, I'm gonna roll with it.
Okay.
Just why not?
And like Speedy
Um,
said, yeah, I mean, like, anything where it seems like it would hinder you, I'll throw it in. It might also be like, if some devil's bargains come up where it makes sense, I might make that happen. Or if you just end up in a desperate situation or make a really bad roll, we can decide that's why you got the bad roll. It could be any kind of thing, anything like that.
Yeah.
All right. So that's that is your first downtime action. Did you want to do anything else?
I mean, I did. I don't want to like grab the entirety of everything necessarily. If you want,
We can go around the circle. Anybody else have one they want to do immediately?
So when we gathered heat, like what was the nature of that? Like are people talking? Are people?
It's exactly that. People in the area are talking, and those in authority that like make it their job to listen to the chatter are hearing things. They're some of them are paying a little extra attention to you guys.
I think that it is time to threaten, punch, and disappear talkers.
Fair enough. That kind of makes sense. All right, let me get over here.
We have a hidden hideout, and the way it stays hidden is people not, gabbing about things, in general. No reason for people to even look for us.
Fair enough. Which attribute do you see using for that?
I think it's gonna be probably prowl, because I'm surprisingly good at prowling about and then snatching people up.
Okay, that'll be fine. Yeah. So your goal is not to harm people, but to definitely let them know that they could be. Is that what I'm getting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like like not that I will kill you, but you could have a happy accident.
Yeah, I dig that, because you come out of the shadows to let them know that you could be anywhere. I got it. Okay. That'll work on me. Just saying. All right. Well, in that case, make your prowl roll. Do you want to add anything to that? You can do your usual stuff. You can push yourself, which is taking a couple of stress. You could ask for a devil's bargain, or just make your regular 2.
I'm actually gonna push myself, because like
Okay.
I'm very concerned about the safety of the people around me and the heat that we potentially could generate.
Makes sense. All right, so let me double check and make sure I know where you are on this. Your heat is currently 3. So really, yeah, anything you roll is going to make it less, which is great. All right, so you are taking a couple of stress to add a die to this?
Yes.
All right, not a problem.
So I'll take 2 stress.
Yep. Yeah, take 2 stress and add 1 bonus die when it asks for that.
Oh, so it's risky.
Yeah, we're back on risky standard because it's just a basic roll.
Standard submit.
Oh, got a 6. Nailed it. Okay. So I think that knocks 3 off, doesn't it? And your heat was 3. So, right? Let me double check. Yeah, never mind. Bye-bye heat.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Well done.
The people that were looking at you, suddenly that chatter has clammed up, and no one is reporting anything. So I will knock that off, and now your heat is 0. Which means, yeah, you can build up a whole lot of heat on the next score if you end up doing that. All right. Well, that was I think that was what we call effective.
Yeah, and now that I've had a stressful day, I will indulge in my vice.
Fair enough. So we know what your vice is, but specifically, what are you doing?
Well, I have I've got this coin. I don't need to spend it though necessarily, unless I need to make it roll better. We'll see how bad the roll is, but I am walking. Basically, I'm making a tour through town, trying to get edging closer and closer to Whitechapel. Like, it's like it's like a kid. Like I can't touch it, but I'm trying so hard.
Sure.
Just like if I can just get there, and I eat in restaurants closer and closer there, or
Now, to be clear, you have 2 stress right now, right?
yeah,
Right, which is not much. So you are in danger of overindulging.
Yeah, if you roll a 3 or higher, bad stuff happens.
that's true. I could overindulge and get the heat back, which would be bad. Yeah,
Oh, that'd be. Although
you
you do get to choose from the list, so there is that.
actually, I'll just train. I'll train. I'll
Okay.
train it
Fair enough. All right.
off. I'll go training. I will train I'll train my advancement, my playbook advancement.
Gotcha.
Boom.
So you're doing the prowess training?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it says wait. Do you get to train the XP or the playbook?
Basically, as shadows, your prowess, you could train any of the attributes, but as shadows, you get extra XP if you choose to train prowess.
Oh, I'll do that then.
Okay. And am I remembering this right? Do you get 2 instead of 1? Let me look that up real quick. Yeah, okay. Let me look it up just to play it safe. Training.
Yes, that's right.
Thank you. All right, and hang on. It's I think it's in a weird place on the character sheet. Let me double check. Yeah, you already got it. So yeah, just you did exactly what I was going to suggest. And then when you fill that up, you will get to add another dot to one of your prowess things.
Cool.
All right. So those are your 2. Anyone else got something?
Sorry, remind me, did we get an XP, like 1 XP from session 0?
Yes.
Okay, great. Then I'm going to take an action to train my playbook.
Okay.
And because between that and my other stuff from last session, I've filled up that bar.
Oh, wow. Nice.
So I'm going to take a new playbook advancement.
That is cool. All right. Do you know which one you're doing yet?
I think.
Lurk's got some really good ones.
Yeah.
And no need to decide right now, but yeah, it's.
No, I think I'm gonna take reflexes. When there's a question about who acts first, the answer
I like
is
that one.
you.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Okay. Yeah, so you're just fast. I dig that. All right. All right, so wait, that was your
Yeah, that was one downtime action to train.
Yeah, that was your training. Got it. Okay.
I know what my other one is going to be, but I will let someone else go first if they want to.
All right. Well, Noctua, we haven't heard from Weaver yet. So do you have anything?
So I know what Weaver would like to do. I, as a player, don't know the mechanics. I would like to acquire an asset.
Oh, we can help you out with that. Yeah. First off, I have the book, and two of the other people have played this a bunch. So yeah, we got you covered. What sort of asset?
So given our recent successes, I want to see if we can potentially improve things like our connections with the Lady Roig, who gave us the quest
Right.
job initially. So if we can, this is where the mechanics come in. I'm like, I don't know if there's a mechanical word for it, but I want to capitalize on our success and like go back to her and say, so I heard that the church may have suffered a loss recently. How terrible for them. And to like play off the, okay, we did what you asked us to do. We did it well. Church doesn't suspect, and kind of elevate our status with her so that if we call upon her to help us in some way in the future,
Oh.
she'd be more amenable. I don't know if that works mechanically.
That's not so much okay. An asset would be more of a tangible thing.
And so an asset can be a person, but it's only a temporary use of them. So like,
Right, and you've
you could
already
get
got her as a contact.
Yeah, you could like
okay,
get her
so
to be on your side for like a little bit, but not like permanently.
Though there is a thing called a long-term project which might fit this. If you were trying to like really specifically increase how much she likes you, basically, because you're starting off. It's clear she already likes all of you, but if you want to really build that up, you could start a long-term project on that. And given how much she already likes you, I'm not going to make that clock too big.
Yeah, I want to see if Weaver can like work that angle so that we're on good terms with was it the council that she was like an underling of?
Right. So if you're shooting for the council specifically,
Not just her, but
okay.
like I want us to be on good terms with her so that
All
like,
right.
if we ever come up against something, she would be willing to vouch for us and say, "Oh no, I've worked with them. They're good."
Okay, tell you what, I'm going to make that a 6-segment clock.
Okay.
And because you are already doing something, you're spending a downtime action to go initiate this. We can go ahead and make the roll. So,
What do I roll?
all right. So really, you get to choose.
Okay.
By exactly how it is that you do this.
Uh, I kind of think sway might be appropriate.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
No problem. And again, we'll do it's just risky standard. Regular rules apply if you want to push yourself or do a devil's bargain. Feel free.
Now I need to figure out how to roll stuff in Roll20.
Okay.
Sorry.
So if you click on sway first, it will automatically set you up with 2 dice.
Okay, risky standard.
Yep.
And then bonus dice? I can just ignore that.
Yeah, unless you want to either push yourself or accept a devil's bargain.
No, let's just roll it
Okay.
flat and see what happens.
Not a problem.
It
And
disappeared. There we go.
hang on. Yeah, I just need to scroll up. Okay, so that's 4, which is decent. I think it's 2 segments.
Okay.
All right, let me get over here.
And where, if you put this on my character sheet, where would it be?
I thought there was a spot for general clocks on the character sheet, but I'm not seeing it. Tell you
I
what,
don't think so I think you have to do it.
There's one on the crew sheet though, so I'll just do that.
Oh wait, clocks.
Yep.
There's a clock name.
Oh.
I could put it here.
Oh wait, do you have that?
Yeah,
Did I
I
miss it on
found
the
it.
character sheet? Well, man, nice job. Okay.
I cannot
Oh,
spell this
yeah, you can
character's
just
name.
add clocks. I see.
Ah, look at
Above
that. That's
notes.
cool. Okay,
Urgh.
that is excellent.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, you sure did. All right, so you got 2, 2 out of your 6, and specifically, we don't have to play it out, but what are you doing? I mean, going to visit her, and then what's your angle?
Uh, hmm. Hold on, I'm gonna flirt.
Nice.
Oh.
I like it. Well, clearly it's working. So,
It's a lot of like innuendo. There's nothing overt, nothing that
Right.
could be considered like at all inappropriate, but there's a lot of double entendre going on.
I like that a lot. All right, so unless I'm doing my math wrong, you still have 7 coin, right?
Yes.
All right. And I will remind you that you can, if you have more than 4 left over and you can't come up with anything to spend it on, you could just individually take some of what's left. You just have to decide who gets it. All right, so let's see. Thistle, you've done both of your actions, right? All right. Everyone else still has 1 left? Yes? All right. Let's see. We haven't heard from the professor in a while. Do you know what your next one's going to be?
So it's funny. Yes and no.
Okay.
Because I realized as I was looking at the indulgence rules, and I have 4 stress right now. So that means that I have a 1 in 3 chance possibly of overindulging.
It could happen.
So which would be hilarious.
Against it,
but
definitely not.
Yeah.
The chance, the percentage chance is not 0.
So we got to decide if I want to. I have to decide if I want to go ahead and try to clear some of the 4 stress that I have, or if
Gotcha.
I want to just ride it and do something else.
Okay.
And I'm not sure what I want to do. Because it's like I could overindulging on this would probably look ridiculous, but
Yeah, we'd have to figure out what that looks like, wouldn't we?
yes. And none of the options are good.
No, that is in fact the point.
But so there's a chance this will bring more upon our heads.
Definitely.
I have 5 boxes of stress remaining. I was just eating stress like candy last time. I think I'm gonna go for it.
Okay.
Heavens help us.
So here's the thing, and you are actually in a surprisingly good position here. Because what you do is you look at your character sheet and you choose not the things that have dots beside them, but the headers, insight, prowess, or resolve.
Yes.
And you choose the lowest of them.
The column with the fewest dots.
I see. Yes.
And
Well, I haven't
yours
advanced
is-
anything yet, so.
And you, by the way,
leftmost column with the fewest dots in it. So
Yeah, that's resolve.
which is, by the way, 0.
Yes.
Which means this is surprisingly good news for you, because you're going to choose the lower of the 2 dice, as opposed to what most people do when they roll to indulge
That's
their
fair.
vice. They must choose the higher one. In your case,
That's true.
it makes you even less likely to overindulge. It also means that you might get 1, but
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, I think that'd be better than nothing.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and indulge.
This is one of the few times that 0 dice is actually to your advantage.
I've never thought about it in the times I've played. Can you gain stress to indulge?
You can.
Like
You
I
can
go
break
so
even,
hard.
basically. If for some reason you wanted to push yourself in the indulgence, yeah, sure, you can break
That's
even.
hilarious. Okay, so I think so. I just hit in this indulge vice button and see what happens. Is that where we are?
That's what you do, and it should automatically
Okay.
do your
Yeah.
do
I
the
have
0.
I can tell you what. Well, I'm going to roll first before I say what I'm doing.
Okay.
But if that's all right. So no bonus
That's
dice.
fine.
It should
Definitely no
automatically
bonus dice.
choose the right one, I would assume.
Yeah.
So, okay. 2.
Yep. It is 2.
Excellent.
And so
okay.
you knock off 2 stress, is what that means.
Excellent. Perfect. So the I don't know if we've said this on stream yet, but my vice is obligation. I took obligation, and I teach the local urchins.
I like that.
And so what happens? The way this goes, is that I think today I'm working with the sort of the younger ones. And so I find there's this probably like a junkyard or something analogous to it where I can show them how to build stuff essentially. And I just sort of will come up as I do this sort of thing where it's like, all right, gather around. Today we're going to harness the power of time itself. Are you ready? I'm going to show you how to make a clock. Now, if you can, just out of some of what we have here, and I chose this spot specifically because you can see just across the street. You see through that window there, that timepiece in the window that has a second hand. I'm going to need one of you lads is going to need to keep an eye on it for me in just a moment. But when we calibrate, yes, thank you. Good. And so here we have. You notice we have a couple. We have a couple of buckets and a few items of wood. That's really all we need. We have a dowel here, and we have a cork, and you have to sort of rig this up a bit so that we have to sort of build this little structure here that we've been working on. Very simple. That so I asked us to start on a little frame. That's what we have here now, and so I'm going to place the we place the small one bucket down here, and we're going to and I need names of kids, alas.
Aldo.
And
that's a good name.
Aldo, yes. Could you take this now? I want you to hollow out this cork just wide enough for this dowel to pass through. Can you do that? And all right. And Sigrid, if you come here, you see that we're going to start. We're going to look very carefully here. We need you to take this chalk. Actually, this needs something a bit better, a bit stiffer better than chalk. Yes, now remember what we said about knives. You have to be very careful. This is a very small blade. I need you to make
open a knife.
You already came with one. Excellent. So I need you to just make a little mark at regular intervals along this dowel here, so that we'll be able to see that. I think I've got a ruler here somewhere. If you want to make it, just if you want to make sure. And once we have that, yes, excellent. So we pour this water into this just a tiny bit of water, just so we have a base in the lower bucket. Now, Dennis, if you would like this, you're going to love this. You get to take that awl here. Now, you be very careful. As I said, this is these. Remember, the tools are our friends, but we have to make sure that we treat them with respect, like we would a friend.
Sometimes they electrocute you.
You need to make indeed. You need to make you need to make a little hole right here near the edge of the bottom of this bucket. Can you do that? And send it to it so he has him punch the hole. And I take the bucket, I put it on top, and say, all right, good, all right. Now, Carsten, you watching that? You watching that clock over there? Good. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to pour the water. We got the dowel through the. We need to take the dowel, put it through the cork there in that hole there. Good. We're going to put it in the lower bucket. In the upper bucket, we're going to pour some water, and we're going to count how long it takes to reach each little notch that has just been made on this dowel.
So you've got them building a rather large water clock.
Yeah.
Nice.
And we do that, and we watch the clock and just keep track. How many seconds was that? Good. Yeah. Every 10 seconds, we need to look at where the notch is. And then I show them, okay, and this is, you can tell time, how much time has passed, by how high up this, and we take this little, and I've got a little metal loop that I attach it to so that the dowel will go up through the loop. You see, based on where how many notches are above this loop here, we can see how much time has passed.
You heard one of them whisper to one of the others, "We could use this to determine when the blue coats are coming."
You sort of will nod. You'll say, "You can use it for any number of things that you need to tell time." Now, are there any questions?
And yeah, they have a lot of questions.
Excellent.
So that
already becoming masters of time, I see.
Yeah. Gotcha. All right. So those are your two. Let's see.
I was not kidding when I said in chat that I was going to have to prepare a lesson plan.
You did.
Yeah. I was ready.
All right. Noctua, Speedy, what do you got?
So I assume so this lesson has been taking place in a scrapyard, and I think the rail yard is probably the largest scrapyard around. Which is sort of like that's like where I live most of the time.
Right.
So I think I've been watching this lesson the entire time, just sort of from the distance, not really letting my presence be known. But as your class is sort of wrapping up, and as the students are sort of starting to walk away, first, as Aldo passes, I just like give him a quick handshake. I can't believe you pay attention for all this. He really knows how to talk, huh? And but just kind of pass him along, and then walk up to Sharky. Sharky.
Hey.
It's fancy meeting you here.
Oh yes, well, so one of the places where they gather. Figured it was about time. Good. I think most of them got it. They're very sharp, very sharp.
Yeah, I mean, Aldo's always been a bright one for how well.
People think that he's. I think people think that he doesn't pay attention very well, but he's actually very good at it. Just because he doesn't happen to be looking in one particular direction at a time, if his eyes can wander, that doesn't mean he's not paying attention. It's a lot of that. That's often something you see, especially in the very young.
Yes, I mean that's how things are around here. You focus on one thing for too long, and well, you're likely to get stabbed.
Very fair, very fair.
Yeah. Hey, listen, Sharky, there was something I wanted to talk to you about.
Yeah.
Look, Weaver.
Oh, yes?
Do you trust her?
She's been very, he sort of will, he'll take a moment and he's like, yeah. I've not really seen a reason not to to this point. She's very effective in sorting out plans, and she's very well prepared. Which is very good.
Do you know her well? How long have you known her for?
Well, about I'm trying to think. Who recruited me in the first place into this? I think it was.
I think it was Weaver, wasn't it?
It was Weaver.
Yeah, it was Weaver.
I'm trying to remember what the circumstances were, because I think we talked about it a little bit.
I think it was that like some of your urchin students like might have given you the connection, or like one of the
Yeah.
I
urchins
think that's
tipped
it. Yeah.
her off
Yeah.
to your
Yeah.
existence
Yeah.
as a tinker.
Ah, well, it's yeah. Well, it's is the interesting thing is you know the yeah, I've known her for about I want to say a good it's been about it's coming on a year now, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
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 Look, so
And
sorry, I
you just-
don't want to
Mm.
cast any aspersions, certainly. I just, personally, I don't know her all that well, and
Right.
right, I just. So, I mean, you worked with Connie a little bit,
Yes, I did.
right? Yeah. Look, I don't want to dwell.
She was very devoted.
Yeah, she was. There was a job that Connie went on at Weaver's direction. Not sure who told Weaver about the job, but I'll cut to the chase.
Mhm.
I have something, and I'm not sure whether I should tell Weaver about it. Because it is the thing that got Connie killed.
Uh,
And I was hoping you might know more about what it is and why. I'm just trying to figure out
all
what
right.
happened exactly.
all right, that's all
Sorry,
right.
it's
Okay.
I'm
It's all right, lad. It's all right. But you have something you would like me to take a look at, yes?
yeah. So it's this thing, and I pull out this uh completely black, like somewhat shiny sphere, like the size of like a large marble, like a shooter. Um, and it is like it has like a presence to it. It feels unsettling to be around. And you can tell immediately that there is something ethereal about its existence.
Mm. Interesting. You know where did you come across this, if I may ask? You said this was during the mission, yes?
Yeah, I mean, Connie was asked to steal something from someone. They did. Um, Connie tossed it off to me. We split, and next thing we know, Connie's well, you know the rest.
Yeah.
Um,
Unfortunately. I see.
And I mean, as far as anyone else knows, or at least as far as Weaver knows, Connie failed that job, never got the marble.
Right.
Far as the whoever fucking owns this thing knows, Connie dropped it somewhere. Fucking, they're looking for it, and I don't know when they're gonna find it, or gonna find me.
I see.
Anyways, I
Well,
was hoping you could tell me how much it's worth, and you know
I
who would be
see.
interested in buying this sort of thing.
Well, we have to figure out a little bit more about what it is first. I do have a thought.
Yeah.
Without even having touched it, you can tell that it resonates on some level with the ghost field.
Yeah. So like, it's very well. It's definitely got the kind of resonance one looks for when working with the ghost field. Brian, I have a question.
Yep.
Have I had a chance to repair the devil's ear yet?
Oh, you have not. That would require another downtime action.
Oh, that would require a downtime action. I did not
Yeah.
realize. Oh, damn. Okay.
There are coins. You can
Yeah.
pay for it.
Yeah, you can spend a coin.
Well, so as far as this conversation is, though, what I'll say is, there's some things I think we can. There's a few tests we can do to see if we can determine a little bit more about its properties. That will give us a better idea of what sort of things, what sort of ideas it's attached to here. There's predominantly, I'd say things like this primarily. My understanding is that when you make something like this, it's primarily a power source for doing something else. But that's how when you store when you store electroplasmic energy. But we can there are a couple of things we can try to see if we can get any good readings off of it, and just sort of see what we can determine. So that's definitely a possibility. I should say what I will say with respect to Ms. Weaver is that I do not think that she would have put forth such a job if she did not think Connie could do it. I think that sometimes she can be a little overeager, but and sometimes I'm not necessarily the best at reading people, but I can tell you that Aldo over there. Aldo trusts her. The other kids trust her. That's how I met her, is through some of the kids. And I trust their judgment. I think sometimes that I will tell you, just from what I've determined, just from working with her for as long as I have, is that sometimes she does need support and encouragement because she's better than she thinks she is, I think, sometimes. Quite honestly. But yes, rather than immediately dashing out, as far as whether to reveal this to her, that is between the two of you. I would recommend not doing it lightly, but
certainly
this isn't a thing of importance. But again, it's for you to decide. But yes, we can do some things to take a look at it first, before you decide what you want to do with it.
Yeah, I appreciate all that. It's at least some small comfort that I suppose I didn't quite think she would necessarily be evil or whatever.
Evil and good are all relative these days.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's not like, none of us are. Well, I'll try to not steal from people who don't have it coming.
Of course.
All right. I mean, yeah. If you got some ideas, I'd love to figure out what the fuck this thing is.
Oh, certainly. I'll need a little bit of time, but we can start looking into it in not too terribly long, I think. And by time in this case, I mean it's like if they sooner if folks would like me to spend a coin to fix the.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say I was kind of thinking it would be my downtime action, like a long-term project for me. I don't know if it has to involve Sharky or if maybe he's assisting or.
Although, I mean, you probably do want to repair your thing anyway.
I do. So. Well, yeah. Part of what I was thinking was involved because it's attached to the ghost plane. I was thinking about listening to it.
Oh yeah. Okay.
to see if
If you want to repair it,
yeah.
I'm not going to make you roll because the damage is actually really simple. It's literally just going to cost you a coin to buy the materials to fix it. So, like mechanically, what that means is you're spending a coin on the downtime action. But in the fiction, you're buying the stuff to fix the thing. So,
would folks
so
be
if
all
you
right
want to
with
spend a
that?
coin, yeah.
Yeah.
If everyone's cool with that, we'll knock you down
That
to
thing
6
was
coins.
super useful, until it blew up.
Yeah.
You should definitely get that fixed.
It
Okie
was
doke.
awfully. It did come in handy. I wasn't expecting in this setting for you to have a radio man, but you did. That was really good.
Excellent. All right. We'll do that. We'll take
All
a
right.
coin
So
to
I
do
still
that.
think we have
and
a couple of downtime actions that have not been spent, right?
Yeah. Well, so sorry. Before that, should I be rolling for long-term project on this?
Yeah. Didn't we already set one up for that?
I feel like we did. I don't remember what it was at.
I believe, if I recall, hang on. Actually, I wrote it down, but I didn't make the clock.
Yeah, I just added
Okay.
a clock on my sheet, but
It was is yours 6 or 4?
I mean, I just made it up.
Okay. What I have here is we started a 6-segment clock, but it already had 1 segment filled in. So because you had started on it initially.
Oops.
So
Ignore that.
okay. I saw nothing.
Ignore me.
All right, and then so I will roll to advance this clock.
Right.
It's probably a tune.
That
to
sounds right.
Understand it?
Yeah. Well, actually, I mean, it depends on how you're going about it. You could go like, although I have a feeling most of the options are probably still zeros, right? So
Yeah, I mean, I got a 1 and a tune, and that's probably the best I'm gonna get.
and that can stick with that because that's right, because you could do the ghost field. So that actually, because the other option I could think of that really fits would be study.
Yeah, that would make sense.
And I don't think you have any study, do you? So
yeah.
Right. Yeah, a tune makes the most sense actually, especially given your the fact that you already have the ability to go into the ghost field.
Cool.
I like that a lot.
Can I take a devil's bargain?
Sure. Let's see. Any suggestions about what that would be? I'll try to come up with something if you don't, because I like the idea.
I mean, it's got to be something to do with sometimes when you look into the void, it looks back.
Yeah,
That or something to do with the people looking for it.
Tell you what, then that makes a lot of sense to me. I'm going to start a new clock, and that'll be the people that are trying to find it.
Okay.
And this will advance that a little bit.
Okay.
So I'm only going to advance it 1 segment, but it will also be, just so you know, it's also going to be a 6-segment clock.
Okay.
And I'm going to put that clock over on the crew sheet because that seems like the place I'll remember it exists. All right, so we do 6, and I'm going to stick 1 segment on that. All right.
Oh,
And
terrible.
Not, I was going to say not the worst it could be, but that is the worst, isn't it?
That is the worst it can be.
Oh,
yeah.
man. Oh well. Oh wait, did you? Oh no, you already added it. Okay, so that's just 1 set. So now you've got 2 segments on your 6-7 clock, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, it's slow going because you have never dealt with anything like this before, but you do learn some things. The first thing that you learn is that it how does it feel to you when you slip into the ghost field?
I think it's like being splashed in the face with cold water. It's like a rush of adrenaline and just like cold air rushing past me, and like everything goes kind of blurry around me. Like all my senses are like everything feels like it's echoing and wispy and ephemeral around me.
The first time you attune to this sphere, you get exactly that same feeling, except even more intense. However, you can tell you have not slipped into the ghost field. You are still in the physical realm. But it gives you exactly that same feeling when you pass through the veil.
Interesting. Okay.
All right. So yeah, you have learned a thing, but it turns out it is protecting its secrets very well. All right, that leaves us with Weaver. I think you still have one downtime left.
Yes, I should have one downtime. Okay. Uh, so what exactly is acquiring an asset? I don't know if I can use this.
Okay, and you may not be able to. I mean, you may not have a thing you want to use it for, but it is basically most traditionally it is used if you want to get something that you could use on a score. It's a temporary thing, so it usually just lasts until the score is over. Now, I will tell you something. Oh, also, Speedy, did you want to spend any coin to bump that result up? You got coin. I forgot to ask.
Sure, why not?
Okay, you want to fill in too? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to knock you down to 5 coin. And the reason I bring that up, Weaver, is because you may also want to do some kind of coin thing. So yeah, it is a thing you have temporarily. You're sort of like if you need some thugs or something like that, you can sort of hire them for one job. If you need a vehicle, you're effectively renting it. And the reason that I was mentioning the coin thing is that you don't have to spend all your downtime actions now. You can hold one until you find out what your next score is. And then you can say, I'm spending the downtime action on this, and then do it that way. So nothing wrong with that if you want to hang on to it.
Yeah, I feel like that's something she would do
Okay.
because Weaver feels like someone who is resourceful. So I'm like, okay, I know that there will eventually be a need. I'm going to keep my resources until I
Sure.
can fill that need.
Not a problem. Okay. Well, in that case, like hang on to it, and we'll just remember that you've got that to spend. Here's the thing: you can spend it after the score starts. You can say, "I'm going to use this downtime action to have prepared a thing," and as long as it fits with one of the downtime actions, all you have to do is spend the downtime action, and you're good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
So
you're not required to spend it before the score starts. Just remember, you've got one that you haven't done anything with.
yeah, and I'm not required to declare that I am acquiring an asset
No,
now. If
not
I
at
want
all.
to keep that and like reduce heat once the score starts, I could do that.
Yeah, except right now you have no heat, but you could.
Yeah.
You could, yeah, like once the score starts, you could choose any of them that makes sense. And given the nature of your character, any of them that make sense that also make you have prepared something in advance, that just makes sense too. So, yeah, not a problem. If you don't have a specific thing for it, that's one of my favorite parts of this is you can just remember that you have it and do it later.
Yeah, it's a secret tool that will help us later.
It definitely is. All right. Well, in that case, it sounds like everybody's downtime stuff. Do we want to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we can do some role play, talk about what the score is going to be or what the score might be. You will be presented with an opportunity. I'll tell you that. And that way, if you have any like gathering information stuff you want to do, maybe we could get that done, and then we could start next session with the score. But we'll figure it out.
Cool. Yeah, no, I'm very happy to go to break at this point. So we shall be back in a little bit. I'll go ahead and I've got an interview I'm going to throw on.
Cool.
We will see you shortly. Welcome to the break. I have Trooper SJP with me today to talk about all manner of things. Hello.
Hello, hello. all manner of things.
All
the
manner of things. But one thing I wanted to start out with, though, is just you do streaming and a great deal of RPGs. How did you get into streaming in the first place?
It must have been 5 or so years ago when I was watching Geek and Sundry, and that's what got me into streaming. I mean, I wasn't one of the old video game Twitch folks. I got into it through RPGs, and I was watching Geek and Sundry, and that sort of led me to Hyper, which led me to one particular. And I was doing sort of community stuff, and that led me to one of their GMs, and I became a mod in her channel, and Random Tuesday, she's great. And the thing that happened was that I thought, well, this would be fun, but I can't stream because I'm a teacher, and that might be weird. Like, what if my students find me? Like, I just don't know. I don't know if I could do that. It just might not be logistically feasible. And then she ended up streaming on her own channel. She's just started streaming, not just through Hyper RPG, but on her own. And I became a mod, and I thought, she is not only a teacher, she's like a middle school, elementary school teacher. Like, and I'm teaching university students who cares? They're all, you know what I mean? Like, if they actually see me, it probably wouldn't make a big difference. And seeing her do it and having someone that I could ask questions to and figure out, okay, well, what are the logistics? How does one do this? Like, how do you deal with, because this streaming is not just, can you get the tech up, but it's also, okay, well, do I have to worry about my students finding me? How do you manage the emotional part? And having a model of somebody who was able to create a community and sort of manage it well made me think, oh, yeah, no, I can do this. And I started off easy mode, doing streaming through my PS4, because the PS4 has a button, and I don't actually have to know. I didn't have to know how to do OBS or anything like that, and that just started it. And from there, I figured out how to do OBS, and then from there, like little bit by little bit, I was able to work through it. And I mean, what's interesting to me is that it's a much larger. There's a lot more to it than one might initially think. Especially, are you going to have a Discord and sort of try to do community building through that as well on top of it? Will you do games, RPGs? How are you going to sort of think about getting art or not for sort of setting everything up? What kind of experience do you want to have? And I suppose, what kind of streamer do you want to be? And I learned that there are these streamers who play, I don't know, Fortnite, and they have 18 million viewers every time they show up, and they also stream 80 hours a week. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. That won't be, that is interesting, but not interesting for me. And people always say things like, oh, if you want to be more popular, you could stream these things. And I was like, I'm going to stream what's interesting. And then I think what's great about that is that you then cultivate a community who is there for that. And then you can stream the kinds of things that you're interested in and get a community of people who are also interested in those things. And it's just nicer.
Cool. Now, I see that, speaking of getting into streaming communities, I was looking through your website, and I see that you did a newsletter for one of the, was it a Hyper RPG show?
It was, yes.
It was for their Shadowrun game?
Yes.
Would you like to talk about it a little bit?
Sure. So, you know how some people are, there are different types of gamers out there. And I have always been a sort of a character-driven simulationist gamer, whereas I'm really interested in the world itself and how people interact in that world. And one of the things I've always loved to do as a GM is, depending on the setting, is create newspaper stories. Because I like to, rather than having a set plot that I do, I tend to have a world, and there are people in the world who have plots they have going on, but who knows what will happen. And I really like to have a world where the players impact the world, both in small and large ways. And I always wondered, well, how do I let the players know in an organic way the ways in which they're impacting the world? And having a newspaper was one of those ways that I would do it, where I would sort of come out with a newspaper every couple of sessions that would sort of mark in these small and subtle ways the ways in which they've impacted the world, as well as have plot hooks. And so for this game, which I loved, I thought, well, what could I do? And what I decided to do was to create a reporter character who was in the world that the show was set in. And I thought, okay, here's a person. The challenge for myself is to write stories based on only what was happening in the public of that game. So any kind of conversations happening behind closed doors, a reporter would never know about. But if there's a firefight downtown on the freeway, a reporter would know about that. And then sort of writing these stories that would sort of inform the community that grown up, because there was a bit of a metagame in that particular RPG as well, where viewers could sort of do faction turns. And so I was reporting on the faction turns, and I was reporting on all the public things, and other people became really inspired, and they would also submit stories. And it was just this kind of neat sort of in-game world to show in some ways the ways in which the average person on the street might view Shadowrunners, PCs, and the ways in which that might impact regular folks. And that was really fun. And that was a big project in the end, to sort of put out a newspaper every week. But it was good. It was really good. That was great fun. And that was one of my personal big entrance as more than just a viewer for a stream community.
It's a very interesting thing, really, because it's just I think it just shows how early on we still are with this whole medium, that it can be that engaging. But I haven't heard of many streams doing something like that as of yet. Yeah. But it's very cool. It's very cool.
And it's all about, I think, that's all about player investment, right?
Yeah.
Or viewer investment, and the different ways in which you can get viewer investment. And I think Hyper RPG does a lot, but a lot of the ways in which shows will generate viewer investment is through donations, but that's not the same thing as having viewers create things. Yeah. And how do you create a show that allows viewers to create things without negatively impacting the campaign? Yeah. Which can happen in all sorts of ways. I mean, I've seen shows where people are able to donate, and donate will get you things, but what that ends up doing is skewing. Like, well, now the players have 18 advantage things, and you're like, well, that's going to be a little bit rough, or trolling happens or whatever. So ways in which you can get a healthy engagement that encourages players to sort of take on the living world and sort of, what did that actually really well? Mm-hmm. It was Shield of Tomorrow had this Discord channel, which was Shield of Tomorrow was a Star Trek RPG on Geek and Sundry. Mm-hmm. And they had in their Discord, they had an RP set of RP channels, and the players would just sort of make up crew members for this sort of Star Trek ship that were on different shifts, right? So they were never seen, but they were around. And then the cast, the GMs, saw who they were and then noted them down. So like, oh yeah, so the person who's on shift 3 is so and so, and would like name check these people that the viewers had sort of created. And ways in which you can interact that way, I think I'm really excited to see how that can go.
Me too, absolutely. Very much looking forward to how this whole medium evolves as time goes on. Well, thank you very much for coming and chatting with us for a bit. If folks want to find you online, where should they go?
Ooh, you can find me on Twitch at TrooperSJP, which is where I do my streaming. You can find me at Academic Foxhole on Twitter, where I speak randomly about things, inconsistently, intermittently, and oddly, and too verbosely. You can find me in either of those places.
We encourage verbosity on this channel. Excellent. All right. Well, folks, I'm going to throw things back over to me, or possibly to a video graphic of some kind, if we're still backstage panicking, which we probably are. But in the meantime, we will see you later. We have returned, and we have, I believe we have completed our downtimes, yes? Those we wish to take.
For the most part. We still have one pending, but it can hang out until whenever Weaver decides to use it. All right, so now we are effectively in free play mode, but also sort of veering into gather information mode if you come across something that you wish to gather information about. So as was mentioned during the heat phase, people are talking. Well, let me rephrase that. People were talking, and then Thistle politely asked them to stop. So now they have. But the fact that your rep is still your rep means that the people that keep their ear to the ground about these things still know. They're just not the type that are going to talk to the filth. So you're good as far as that goes. What that means, though, is that as we established before, you are operating in the Hive's territory, and the Hive is a big organization. On the surface, they are just a bunch of merchants. But if you scratch that surface just a little bit, you realize that basically what they are is just a much, much, much bigger version of what you're doing. So they, you are not at the point yet where you are paying them tribute to operate in their territory. That may or may not happen. But right now, they did help you get set up. So every now and then, one or more of you are approached by members of the Hive. And in this case, I think it's going to be Weaver. So, Weaver, you're in Night Market, just doing whatever it is you normally do. What's the sort of thing, something innocuous, but what's the sort of shop you would just be in? I mean, like just to buy something for yourself.
Um, what would she be getting in night market? I think Weaver would probably be she's trying to buy practical clothes, something that's essentially like cargo pants, lots of
Right.
pockets.
Oh, yeah, fair point. Well, in that case, you are in whichever clothing shop you have selected. And we haven't really talked about what Night Market looks like. Night Market has multiple levels, some of which are literally subterranean. Some of them are built upwards onto like wood scaffolding. Have you seen those pictures of the way that London Bridge used to look back when people legitimately lived on it and also had like stores and it just kept going up? Night Market looks like that. Big chunks of it are still built like directly upwards. Um, so you've got a lot of different levels that you are literally operating on, and might make for a really cool chase sequence later. But so you're in one of the stores that is, in this case, on ground level, but you're surrounded by a bunch of other things, meaning you're in a place where you can't see the sky. It's like one of those one of those like cities that has kind of the habit trails that go back and forth. You're in one of those sort of it wasn't intended to be a tunnel, but it is one now. So you're in one of those stores, and the clerk behind the counter is someone that you've dealt with before. You've bought clothing from them in the past, but this time she says when you go up, you discover she's charged you half of what the tag on the um well, she's charged you half of what your total would normally be.
Oh. Uh, Weaver kind of arches an eyebrow and's like, "Oh, was the item on sale? I didn't notice."
It is for you, ma'am.
Just like looks up and down. Does Weaver understand what is happening here?
Not just yet.
Okay. Uh, she's she's kind of confused at that then, because unless she knows about this clerk's affiliation, she has no reason to suspect this. So,
Some of the members of the Hive do wear the little bee pins. This one doesn't have one. However, right now it's you and the clerk and one other customer, and the other customer leaves. And as soon as the other customer leaves, she rings a bell on the counter, and then a guy comes out from behind the counter, and he is wearing the pin.
ah,
And once he steps behind the counter, you realize both of them, like in sync, look at the door, and then they look at each other. The clerk that you were talking to nods to him and goes over and locks the door.
boy.
And he says, while she's doing that, he says, "If it's not too much trouble, ma'am, we would like to present you with an exciting business opportunity."
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, Weaver just nods. And she's like, I'm all ears.
We are not going to insult you by pretending we do not know who you are and what you have done. But we are not also going to insult you by saying it out loud.
Weaver appreciates discretion.
However, we recognize that you are busy. We are very busy. And we think you might be the sort of person that would appreciate it if we would cut to the chase. And then just as he says cut to the chase, the clerk comes over and stands beside him. She's like a full foot shorter than he is, but once she's standing beside him, her movements become almost a smaller mirror image of his. And
That's creepy.
she says, "We are aware that the church is also aware that someone has moved against them. We can tell you that the church does not yet know who it was, but they're looking. And the church stomping around night market is bad for business. So we feel it is in our mutual interests to dissuade the church from continuing this sort of activity." And then the woman says, "Yes, dissuade them."
And yeah, Weaver's been nodding along. Like so far, she's gotten the yeah, I can understand where they're coming from and their position on this, and the like not so subtle. We can squish you if we wanted to.
Yeah, there is that undertone.
Yeah. So yeah, Weaver's just nodding along, like so far in agreement with everything they've said.
We can give you some information that might be of use. For example, we know that they are, well, the warehouse, the one that you are familiar with, I should think. It's dead to them. They've burned the location. Not literally, mind you, but it is no longer useful. But it's not the only property they have in Night Market. They have several. It was just the biggest one. And they are moving something around. We don't know what it is. Because if we get too close, it will cause problems. Problems we don't want. But there are advantages to being a smaller operation, aren't there?
Yeah, like eyebrows raised. You say they're moving something.
From place to place, but we know where it was last night.
Huh. Like,
Every few
yeah.
days, it ends up some other part of Night Market, and whatever it is, I don't think we like it.
Ooh. Any idea as to the nature of this thing?
Our operatives in other districts have reported similar activities in the past, and we believe it's some sort of surveillance device.
Oh, well,
The sort of thing that
content.
might find someone that has offended them.
Well, we can't have that now, can we?
To put it bluntly, we don't want a war in Night Market.
Of course. Weaver nods, like, let me run this by my people, and we'll see what we can do.
Absolutely. The chain of command must be observed.
The Hive would definitely know that.
Once again, they look at each other, and then they nod, and this time, the tall guy goes and unlocks the door.
Yeah, and I think Weaver will take the information. She's still got this kind of small smile on her face, like this could be really cool. Also potentially disastrous, but potentially really cool.
And by the way, the other three of you are having similar experiences if you try to buy anything from any of like the regular shops. Sometimes you just get more than you asked for. Sometimes it's a discount. But like not every store, but in a whole lot of the stores, the clerks are being extraordinarily nice to you.
Hey,
And grift, not in the way that implies they think you're going to steal something.
I was literally just typing in the chat. I always get a 5-finger discount.
Thank you for rating Goblin Cave TV. Hello.
Yay!
Yay.
Thanks, Raid.
Raiders. All right.
I think there's a lot of just a lot of like, it's about damn time.
After her experience, I think Weaver is going to catch up with the rest of the crew,
Okay.
probably in our lair.
Yeah, back in was it Charter? Yeah.
Yeah. And she will cast exposition
Right.
about what happened. And then just say to the crew, on the one hand, we definitely don't want to bring the church down on our heads. On the other, we really can't bring the church down on our heads with the Hive, because then we would be ultra dead. So it may be in our interests to find this surveillance device.
Did they
What do you-
say they want the surveillance device? Does the Hive want it, or can we keep it?
The impression I got was that they just want it stopped. They didn't want us found. Given my druthers, if we could keep it, I would like to. The Hive was not particular in their offer of whether they want this device for themselves.
All right, neat.
Interesting.
Sharky, you made a surveillance device.
I did.
That's true.
And you
Maybe
know
we
how
can use the
useful
one to
that
find the
was.
other.
Yes, you know
If
how
we start
useful
getting
that was.
feedback, then we know where it is.
Exactly.
I know how
Principles
surveillance
it's using.
devices work. I'm very smart.
Do we know? Did they say anything about what this device looks like or anything about it?
They don't seem to know. They were loath to get too close. They'd tip off the church if someone wearing a little bee pin goes into one of their warehouses.
Ah, fair. So they saw something being transported. Then is that what we're?
Yes. They know where it was last night, and they know that it's going to be moved every few days within the night market, so staying local. And it's around here specifically because the church is looking for someone.
Interesting. So if it's something
They're
that
looking for
takes-
us.
Yes, exactly. You know, the part that I
And
didn't
so
say aloud.
The plan is to get as close to them as possible while they have a surveillance device that is specifically looking for us.
I honestly don't think we've come that far. The point was, they're looking for us.
And they're looking for someone. They don't know who they're looking for yet, I would expect.
I suppose
Oh,
that's
no,
true.
that's an excellent point.
Yes. They don't know whom they're looking for. There's also the remaining threat that the Hive could just tell them.
Yes,
Yeah, that's a
that
good
would
point.
Not be terribly neighborly. I suppose that is rather the point. They're testing our neighborliness.
That's one word for it. At the moment, we are small and rather squishy. I would rather not be the wasp in the beehive.
I can't
So
argue with
long,
that.
so long as the church doesn't know whom they're looking for, we might be able to hamper their efforts to search and gain for ourselves a surveillance device. We know how useful those can be. And it gives the professor another toy. Thoughts?
Muted.
I'm muted.
Yeah,
Not anymore.
you were. Not anymore.
Oh, I think that we should put on some kind of show. bring a bunch of traffic into the night market. Make it as difficult as possible for them to do all their surveilling. Either that or we find out who's got the surveillance device and beat them with a rope.
A rope?
Rope.
Not usually a bludgeoning device that I'm familiar with, but I suppose you're the expert, not me.
Well,
There's a lot you can do with rope.
Ships have ropes as big as my forearm.
Right. And that is why I stick to trains.
Never underestimate the power of a good rope.
All those braided cables just, rubbing violently against
All right, stop flirting. I don't like it.
Who? Moi? All right. So, all flirting aside, would we be interested and/or willing, I guess is a good word, to try and find this thing? Are we willing to risk the wrath of the church?
I think we're risking the wrath of the church by not doing it.
The church will always find excuses to be wrathful.
I'm not much for kowtowing to empty people. That means they don't want things. Apparently, except our heads. Bastards.
Well, someone's heads. They don't know those heads belong to us just yet.
Well, I think we should put on something that brings as many people into here as possible to make it as hard as possible while we figure out who has what and get it from him.
All right. We have the beginnings of a plan.
I'm on
If that
board.
doesn't work, back to the rope.
And as far as that goes, we do have a bit more time. Do you want to do some gathering information, as it were, in Night Market or elsewhere? It makes the most sense to do it at Night Market, but you don't have to restrict yourself to it. But you do get a bonus if you do it at Night Market.
I like
Yeah.
bonuses in Night Market.
Yeah, let's gather some information. I have completely forgotten how to do that.
That's not a problem. We have it right here.
I mean, I've still got my beggar friend in Night Market.
Absolutely, yeah, and that worked great last time. Yeah, she definitely has her ear to the ground as far as that goes.
Yeah, so
And
I'd probably turn to her and ask her for any information on where this thing has been seen moving.
right.
Or what to look for, if it's in a carriage or, escorted by a certain garb of guard.
Right. There we go. Whoops, I was doing them. She doesn't have any. Okay, she can't tell you what it looks like because whatever it is, they are protecting it really well. As far as they're being, well, okay. What she says is they are attempting to be stealthy about it. She chuckles at that because that's not that they are failing at being completely stealthy. They are, however, managing to conceal whatever the heck it is. But she can tell you that it is big enough and or heavy enough that it requires a carriage to move it.
Okay. So we're looking
And she
for...
can tell you 2 places that it definitely has been. Neither of which is the place that the Hive people told Weaver about.
Okay.
So her information's a little old, but she has observed it.
So we're looking for a goat-drawn carriage.
Sorry, did you say goat or ghost?
Goat.
Goat.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're it's all goats drawing
goats.
carriages in
Yeah.
this world.
It's goats all the way
There's
down.
all the way down.
there are like a couple horses out there, but those are for like extremely rich people.
Right.
Most of the rich people still have just slightly fancier goats.
Right.
Okay. Sorry. Somehow in my head, I did not picture goats in night market. Okay.
Yeah, very large goats, to be clear.
Yep,
Draft
they are big.
goats.
Yeah, you can ride them, but they
Okay, so
are
like
they are goats.
dire goats.
Dire goats, nicely done. Actually,
Okay.
I do picture them with just like these just absurd horns, not just not the little ones, just these like and like entirely like non asymmetrical.
I feel like there's a picture somewhere
I
of
thought
a
there
goat
might
in the
be,
book,
yeah.
but I do not know where.
Yeah,
Not
sure.
important.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a carriage that requires like 2 dire goats to pull it. That this thing was in at some point and will eventually be again when it's next moved.
Yes, that's the most we know.
How common are dire goat carriages in night market?
Pretty common. I mean, it's a major trade hub. And not only that, it's where the trains stop. So any major cargo is probably going to be met with a carriage, if nothing else, over at the train station.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything that stands out about the goat-drawn carriage that could help us identify it from other goat-drawn carriages?
Do they bless the goats? Do they put little miters on their heads
Actually,
in between the horns? Or?
The answer, unfortunately, is not really. But your beggar friend does mention that neither she nor the other people that she's talked to that have seen this noticed any church regalia on it. Nor did they notice, like, the people involved weren't wearing church outfits. In fact, when you suggested it was the church, that was news to her. She was just like, "Oh yeah, there's this thing that's been moving around, and people have noticed it." She was like, "The church, you say?" So yeah.
Okay.
You suspect she's going to sell that information to someone later.
Yeah, that's a tip for you.
That's how it works.
And then I have a question just about the general setting and like the level of technology. If they're goat-drawn carriages, how common are surveillance devices? Presumably this is either like a magic thing. It sounds like they don't have cameras yet.
Not really. They do have things that create images, but they're like early daguerreotype sort of things.
Okay.
But
we're like steampunk era, right?
Yeah,
now.
yeah. But those would be for extremely wealthy people. That's not the kind of thing that your average person has. Some of them are also attuned to taking pictures of ghosts for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
This is a situation where the ghost hunting equipment actually works. However, as far as surveillance devices, they aren't unheard of, but they are rare, and they are generally regarded as being unreliable, which is great for people in your line of work.
I think in character, Weaver would ask the professor about this technology. And just like, what do you know about this? Yes. Does it use the ghost field?
Well, we can, if we get close, I can try to see if I can pick up anything that might create some sort of feedback off of that. So maybe. We don't know yet, obviously, but if they are using... Actually, if they are using that, then I shall be very disturbed about that, because there were... It concerns me that someone may have been at my books. But that said...
So did the one that you have, the big dish thing?
That's just when we attach the bell. You can wear it on a harness when we're out in the field. I've got
right. So you made that, right?
Yes.
Is that
It's
your own designs and all
yes,
that?
yes, that was. I worked on principles involving hearing echoes across the ghost field for a number of years prior to that. Some of that did make it into some of the papers I was putting forth. I think it's been a while at this point.
Were you
But-
required to release your data in those papers? You know, GitHub of all your technology, all the code used to generate those figures.
Well, it was very early stages at that point, but they did. The university did. I believe that the university did have an open policy at the time that they did want really certain things, and then they kept certain things to themselves. They were very, let's just say, they. Some of the faculty preferred that certain things be kept out of certain people's hands who did not pay for access to it.
Right. So what you're saying is that everything was public if you paid.
Yes.
So, an organization with enough money could potentially have reproduced your research.
They couldn't have reproduced exactly what it is I came up with, and if they'd come up with something on their own, it probably might be about that size if they hadn't because I hadn't worked on the refinement processes yet as of that point.
We're sure that this is a device, right? We're sure it's a device. We're sure about that.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Not like a ghost, right, or a person, a demon.
Right.
It was-
Like, we're sure it's a device. Like, what if it's just like a demon, like in a box?
Yeah,
Possibility.
I
or like
don't-
an
We don't know
eel
what it
with
is yet.
hearing.
That's the problem.
An
Yeah, we
eel
don't
with good
know.
hearing.
What if it's just like a cat?
Are
Right,
there
like,
cats in this
Ghost
universe?
cat.
There are always
like-
cats.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
cats.
Are there ghosts of cats?
Oh man,
Yes.
I think there have to be.
Are there?
I don't know for sure.
You know
I
what? There are
think
now.
Is it in the cart in the box, and we don't know if it's a ghost cat yet until we open the box.
Right. Man.
And so
There we go.
they're using it to detect things along the probability waves.
And if you open
I
the box,
that
the
have- that are
waveform
as of
collapses.
yet-
Exactly,
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
I feel like I remember seeing some sort of reference to either like a ghost cat or dog or like a ghost rat king.
Oh man,
Like just
Wow.
a pile of rats that are a ghost.
that
Yes.
is messed up, and I like it.
I mean, I
The
wouldn't
idea
want-
that every creature here does make a ghost is incredibly terrifying.
It is.
it's awful.
Wait,
That can't be right.
does that imply ghost leviathans?
Whoa.
No,
Probably.
I don't think so.
Oh, actually, no. You're right. In canon, demons cannot become ghosts. That is
Yeah, but
true.
that's why
Yeah.
the church loves them.
Right.
And
Ah.
their blood is like all that spirit energy that would be a ghost. That is what we're burning to make electricity.
That's true. It's also what's used to keep ghosts from happening. So yeah, you're exactly right.
Oh.
It's what powers the crematorium
And the fence.
and the fence.
all electro. Yeah. Anyways,
I have learned so much about demons today.
Yeah,
And
church
goats.
church loves demons. They're pure because they just are.
Yeah, just vibes, man.
Just way out of character. I am so nonplussed by this church. Anyway.
I mean, understood.
Yeah,
All right, sorry. Okay.
this church is
So-
after something tangible. Yeah.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
All right. So, Professor, can your device detect disturbances in the ghost field?
It can, yes. If I calibrate it properly to actually listen to the things that I've been trying to get it to ignore. Yes.
Huh.
Just have
I
to
wonder
invert the field on it.
Sure. Perhaps, though, if we know when this object is being moved, and we can set your device up close enough to it, perhaps you can gain more information about whether it uses the ghost field to do what it does?
Well, certainly, yes. At the very least, we can. Well, I imagine also if any of its operators happen to be nearby at any point, maybe they'll talk about it.
Yes.
Ooh.
We can find out who's doing anything with it, who's actually turning the thing on and off, assuming it's a device. We can find out more about what they're doing.
Professor, forgive me for being so blunt, but I must ask, you didn't leave any rivals when you left the university?
So that is a complicated question.
Seems like a yes or no, really.
Well, here's the
he's gotta
thing.
determine who a rival is. I mean, maybe everyone sucks.
There
many
are
rivals, but no peers. Is that
the field is rather wide, unfortunately, as I'm afraid my techniques were not looked kindly upon by at least half the faculty.
Dear.
It's so rivals is an interesting term. As far as I don't know that any of them were eager to get into engineering per se, but
enemies then, just enemies.
Well, yes, there were those, and then there was the occasional. There was, of course, the disgruntled student at one, rather in particular, who unfortunately had rather deep pockets and, shouldn't just say, a rather unhealthy interest, even by the standards of what we've been talking about, in certain occult forces, from what I understand. But
Did this student possess an aptitude for engineering? Did they pass their course?
no, she was actually quite bad. But there was a glimmer of hope. I told her there was a glimmer of hope. I was perfectly willing to work with her between periods to see if she could take the course again. She did not wish to take the course again, as she needed to. There were fundamental principles of engineering she was rather dead set against, which is a hell of a trick. If you
Pardon my ignorance of engineering, but I was under the impression that you couldn't simply deny the principles of engineering.
Yes, I was rather under that impression myself. I have been for some time.
Right, well, you certainly know more than I.
I have yet to be. That was, in fact, that incident was the greatest challenge to that. In fact, that I think I've had thus far. But no, my understanding is that she pulled strings and she got the grade overturned. I believe I was rather out of the picture by that point. She had rather, as I said, let's just say a family that was well liked in certain circles, and they have a great deal of money, and she was also it was suspected the ear of something, we don't know what. And, well, there it is. When one has rather that degree of force against one, one cannot remain in one's position.
Thing about deep pockets, it gives you a bad sense of balance, and you can just scoop someone sideways when you grab them by the pockets.
I suppose.
Sorry, I feel like pardon me for getting carried away. But if, Professor, you are willing to use your device, we can certainly gain more information about this target of ours and who's wielding it, and hopefully more about what it does and how.
Yeah, certainly. If, as we've been theorizing, it is the, of course, if the church doing this, then it would be a rather interesting coincidence if it's anything similar to mine. anything similar to the Devil's Ear, that would be rather unusual. But one need, in this city, one need not necessarily rule out things just simply because they are unusual.
Sorry, I have one out of character setting question. How common is hypocrisy in the church? Like, do you get like high up clergymen like totally using ghosts?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the average person may not be aware of it, but yeah, you do.
Okay. Sorry, I just realized that I had assumed that existed and I didn't
Yeah.
actually know.
This is the sort of thing that definitely happens.
Okay.
Officially, no, not at all. Ghost bad, but
But it's a church. I feel like that kind of sets a threshold for how much
Kinda
faith you
does,
put in
yeah.
them.
As long as they're like working towards their ultimate goal of purity and becoming demons and free of spirits or whatever, like it's fine to use ghosts.
right.
I think my plan was going to be like, well, oh no, goats gotta eat. Gonna go do some day labor and as a stable hand.
Nice. Okay.
Oh,
I can go ahead and tell you what you find.
Sure.
And this doesn't take a roll. It's pretty easy. It just requires you to take the time to go do it. You do discover that they are not using the same goats every time, nor are they using the same carriage. They are just renting them like anyone would. But they do it. Just talking to the other stable hands and the other people that are working there, you know that they are doing it just like you've been told. It is every few days, and it's definitely the same people coming to to rent the goats.
could we get them to give us a heads up, like as soon as they come and rent this goat, like tell us which direction they went in?
Absolutely, yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, I think it's might be time to tail a guy.
Absolutely. In fact, yeah, if you want to hang out until they move the thing again, you can definitely do that. And now you have a different place that they've moved it. And it's not necessarily, actually, no. I was going to say it's not the same period of time between each one, but that's not true. It actually is. It is. They're on a 6-day schedule. They move it someplace. It waits for 6 days, and then on day 7 they move it somewhere else.
Do they ever go back to a location?
Oh, they haven't yet.
Okay, and how many locations have they been to so far since we've been keeping track?
The one it's in right now is the 4th one that you know of.
Do I
Okay.
think I could pick up and run with this? Just.
You haven't seen what's in the carriage yet, but it does take multiple people. You can tell there are people in the carriage whose job it is simply to move this thing. Also, you're probably really good at figuring out how heavy something is by looking at how low the carriage rides, and it's pretty low. You don't think that you by yourself could do it.
No.
Unless you have that thing that lets you do the superhuman trick, maybe.
No, I was
I
thinking
think-
about picking that up soon, but no,
Yeah.
not yet. Just walk away with it. Sorry, guys.
Give the whole carriage at that point. Who needs goats?
You're like,
Well,
sorry guys. By the way, Circle of the Flame rules. And
If you get those goats to really like you, then maybe you can get them to go in a different direction. I don't know.
So
I don't think the goats like anyone that much.
That's fair.
with the rented carriage prospect, are they managing the goats themselves, or does the carriage come with like a driver who knows the goats?
Oh no, they're using their own driver.
Okay. So everyone's just got like a base level of goat handling to drive a carriage.
Yeah, the church has some people that know how to drive a carriage. Yeah, so
Okay.
You too can get your degree in goat management.
in goat management. Spiritual
Yeah,
studies,
if we-
goat management,
Yeah, gun repair.
demonology,
Yeah. So I do
or
have
air
a
conditioning repair.
yeah. If we know kind of where one of these spots is, would it be feasible as information gathering to go kind of listen around using the devil's ear?
Absolutely.
Kind of
So
try
I can
to
give you
learn
I
more
can give you
about
the it's one of the subterranean storefronts. Uh so that means that it is it's the kind of place that, if you don't look particularly conspicuous, like you're carrying a big listening device, you could just walk by it because it's legit a storefront. However, this storefront is not open for business. The store, as you're looking at it, the store to the left of it is, and then to the right, it's just a corner, so it's another hallway. The store to the left of it is an apothecary shop.
Oh. Oh.
Not the apothecary that you know,
No, I know.
a different
but
apothecary.
Still, there's some things there. There's some things there. I wonder if they know them. But is there any are there any pings like across the ghost field or anything that sort of indicates like what is
You can
this?
find a place that's far enough away that you're not conspicuous, and
Mhm.
kind of. I'm assuming you're using Devil's Ear at this point,
Yeah.
or okay. You can find a place to hide that's not particularly conspicuous, and oh yeah, there's ghost stuff happening. Like if you turn it to play me ghost noises, you have to turn it off because it's loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely ghost something.
And those ghosts are not happy.
Is it
Whatever's
like
going on in there.
usual? Is it like usual? Like there's always ghosts around us all the time, kind of thing, or
This
is
is
it like
this is different. This is
Okay.
louder and angrier.
Wait a minute. Gonna try to sort of triangulate from distance here, figuring out like if I can, and again, it's like I turn the volume down. Like, are they the same voices? Is it not the usual sort of coming and going, or is it like
Oh,
there
no,
are
it
a lot
sounds-
of ghosts trapped here specifically?
That's exactly what it sounds like.
Okay, so this is not using electroplasm. This is using ghosts.
That's your current theory, yes.
Can ghosts see things? Okay, I have. Can ghosts, first of all, do ghosts have any sort of clairvoyant abilities where they're able to see or things at a distance on their own?
It's rumored that some of them do. The theories are all over the place, to be honest. However, some people do, and the theory is that if
Yeah.
a person did in life, maybe they can carry some of that over into their ghost form.
Yeah. Do ghosts? Now here's another question. Now I know that electroplasm can be used as an energy source.
Yes.
Can ghosts themselves be used as an energy source?
Sure. I mean, they're made of electroplasm.
I think it's got to be like adding nitrous to your
Yeah.
car or something.
Yeah, it's probably ill-advised, but yeah, it's
Would-
definitely possible.
Given the cacophony that they are creating across the ghost field, is that something that that could be applied toward a listening device? Because it seems to me on the surface, no, but
Right.
I could be wrong.
Given your experience and your expertise in the subject, you're having trouble coming up with a way that would work.
Yeah. So, wow. Okay. This is very not good. So yeah. There might need to be so I might need to do a bit of research, but I'm going to tell them about this. That basically I'm going to be looking slightly ashen when I come back to the
Oh, gotcha.
hideout at some point. I'm just like, Well, I've determined something about the device. I don't know if it's a functional surveillance device. There's a bit too much of an awful din. They are using ghosts, actual ghosts. They've got them trapped in there. Now,
You
they
can do
might be
that?
feeding. Yeah, you can, yes, you can. They're made of electroplasm. You can use them. You can feed off of them. The results would be a bit more chaotic, but it's, as you know, normally your power source your fuel doesn't normally argue back. In this case, it is. So they are essentially, whatever they're doing something heinous just for this effect. If that is a surveillance device, then it's definitely not the same kind of thing that this is. He says, pointing to the ear. They're doing something along the lines of, I don't know if they're doing some sort of ritual with it or some sort of device that just feeds on the terror of the dead. I don't know, but it's unconscionable.
Right. And
Go ahead.
so not related to your research at all then.
No. They're perhaps, not my research. No, I mean the use of. There have been ways to trap ghosts and utilize their energy and things of that nature. That's a long the use of that energy, and especially with respect to the ghost field, is research that predates me, certainly.
Right.
Did it sound like the
Cool.
ghosts were in pain?
Oh yes, rather exquisite pain, unfortunately.
So the church is torturing ghosts to power something. Surveillance device, purportedly.
It would so appear.
This just keeps getting better and better.
I would imagine that if it is a surveillance device, they're using it to, and given the amount of time, given that it takes 6 days for them to complete whatever it is they're completing, either there's a ritual involved or they're using it to see things over a certain area. And they can, and once they reach the limits of that area, they have to move it to the next spot. And the professor is just going to start drawing a rough map somewhere and just sort of trying to figure out sort of like zones and things like that, that kind of thing.
Griff, have you spoken to Connie recently?
I haven't. Well, I think that I frequently walk past areas where Connie sometimes appears.
Okay.
Like, I don't think I always know exactly where they are. So, but like, I'm walking around Night Market all the time. Sometimes I'll see them.
Yeah. So sometimes they do show up. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I may have some information for you in a minute then. But Thistle, you're at the.
They're trying to smoke us out. They're trying to see where we hang out.
Yeah, sure seems like it.
Can you make like a ghost bomb or like a ghost vibration device? Can you make it blow up?
Yes,
Good
yes, you
point.
can.
Could you make the ghosts so angry, so vengeful that they shake the box apart and eat the goats?
Can ghosts do that? Wait,
Oh,
Weaver would know that. I, as a player, don't.
Vengeful ghosts can eat on the essence of the living. That's how they stay.
Oh yeah,
ghostly.
that's a good point.
It's not great for people.
Nope.
I don't think they could physically eat a ghost, or a goat rather.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be good for anybody.
Yeah, but they could
Ah.
they could
So
they could definitely kill a goat.
Yeah.
And you don't end up with like an undead goat or anything, right? It's just
Oh,
like a
man,
dead
maybe you do.
goat.
Maybe you do.
Sure, why not? I don't know.
Right.
Probably like a hollow goat.
Oh, see, that's it. I think we have to make that canon now. That's just
Maybe the
that's
hollow,
too creepy. We
maybe
have
the
to have
hollow
those.
process involves ghosts eating you till you're hollow.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, sorry. Now I'm just thinking of Bleach. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Oh, okay, fair point. Yeah.
Okay, so our next hypothesis then is if you make the ghosts mad enough, they will escape and eat the goats, and then we can simply track wherever the hollow goats are.
I mean, if we're at the point where all the ghosts are out and or destroyed or whatever, is that? I think that's mission accomplished.
Presuming that the device itself is the thing that holds the ghosts and not simply a power source.
Right. I mean, it feels like if it's a ritual, then it's not. I don't know what they need for the ritual, right? Do they need a book for
Oh,
it, and they just have a lot of ghosts to help with it? Is there something heavy there, right? I mean, what's the
Yeah.
heavy thing?
Sharky,
The ghosts
is it
aren't
the same
heavy.
Ghosts? Is it the same ghosts?
From what I could tell, the voices didn't change.
Same ghosts.
They
They're not getting anything, right? You didn't see any, like the people at the stables weren't saying they were just getting
Honestly, the
carriage to
ghosts
move
were
shit
drowning
around.
everything out. It wasn't really possible to determine exactly what they were doing right there next to them.
The people at the stables were just, they were noticing that these church people were renting different carriages, different goats, every so often, and carting them around. And because goats got to eat, they got to pay for shit like everyone else. So, I mean, they have to they have to offload this thing and then unload it at some point. There's a point where it's vulnerable. Vulnerable.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think any of us are qualified for this.
No.
I am forced to concur. I don't know nearly enough about ghosts.
I
I
think
was thinking
what
of
we
going and doing a bit of
need-
research.
I think what we need is a whisper.
If they're a bunch of wizards, I say we just stuff our hands down their mouths and they can't cast no spells.
Rope is also good for wizards.
Rope is also good.
Yeah, see?
All right.
It's multi-purpose.
All right, can I use my held downtime action to acquire an asset and get a whisper
Oh, yeah,
to
you
answer all
definitely
of our
can.
questions about ghosts?
Sure, you definitely can.
All right, because I don't know, and Weaver doesn't know enough about magic or ghosts or how electricity works in this world to say anything.
All right, if it's okay with you, we're getting close to around the time we usually wrap up. I still want to talk about stuff, but as far as the whisper goes, give me time to come up with a whisper, and I'll have them for you next week.
Yeah,
Because, yeah. I need a little time on that. Although I've already got ideas. All right, so but yes, I love that idea. Yeah, no problem. There's your second downtime. And acquire asset, whisper, because you're right. None of you, like the closest one to a whisper that you have is the professor, and that's really not his bag. So, got it.
I have a point and a tune. I can go into the ghost field a little bit.
You
That's
definitely
it.
can. Yeah.
I know one ghost.
You
So
know,
we got Danny Phantom,
I know a
Danny
ghost.
Phantom's dad.
I know a ghost, and they are not angry at me.
All right. Sorry, before we get too distracted, you had more stuff you wanted to do.
No.
I mean, it's up to you. We'll definitely introduce the whisper next time, and that won't take too long, and then we can go ahead and jump into the actual score. Though, any other questions that you have, we can go over those. You know where it is right now. You know it's going to be there for several days. Actually, Professor, another thing that you noticed is if the church has anybody watching that storefront from the outside, You didn't notice them.
Okay.
However, the blue coat patrols in that area are still, they're not heavy. Um, they're kind of average for night market, which still means you would have to watch out for blue coats
Yeah.
if you were to go in through the front. But
Okay. I shall relay
Um,
that also.
yeah, and also you've got a good idea of where it is right now, like I said. So there is
Yeah.
that.
Did you have you said you had information for a grift possibly?
Oh yeah. So Connie does mention that at some point when they appear near you, some of her undead companions haven't been showing up at their usual places lately.
Interesting. So, I mean, I think when I've like talked to Connie before, like I feel like I haven't heard about her undead companions really.
No, this
Like
is the first. This is the first time they brought him up, I think.
yeah, and like when I've talked to her, it's felt like I haven't thought that she has been capable of learning new memories since this.
Right.
So the idea that she knows other ghosts is like a shock. But I think I would just be like, what do you mean? What you've been hanging out with other ghosts?
Well, hanging out is a strong term, but Bloody Margaret, she never, ever leaves the fountain. And she's not in the fountain. The water's clear, and on this side of things, it's always bright red.
Bloody Margaret. Fucking Christ. All right. Well, thanks, Connie. Good on you. Um, I give them a ghostly high five that goes right through.
And they
and,
say, keeping out of trouble, are you?
well, you know me.
Yes, I do.
Get
So
in,
no.
get out.
Be careful. I don't want you joining me anytime soon.
Don't worry. I'm careful. Not to say you weren't, of course. You were very careful. You're great. I'm gonna go.
She begins to fade.
Yeah. Later. I just kind of quietly walk back, and I will tell the group about what Connie said.
Okay. And again, the special treatment from the people in Night Market continues. After the initial few days, it's not as overt, but certain people are definitely more kindly disposed to you.
If it wasn't clear, I think the next time Weaver goes shopping, I think this is like for groceries or something. It's very mundane. Uh, if she does see, an unexpected discount, she's going to just say, uh, "Doing business with you has been a very wise choice on our part. We hope it continues." As just the subtle, okay, we're doing it. like confirmation to them that yeah, we're taking the job, we're doing it.
And they reply, customer satisfaction is job 1.
That's it. Just to make sure that we keep everyone in the loop who needs to be.
Very good. Yeah, you definitely get message received sort of reply on that one.
Yeah.
All right, unless anyone else has anything, I think it's about time to wrap up and do outros, but I don't want to kill it if anyone's got another thing to do. All right.
There is a thing that we don't need to do necessarily on on camera or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But this just for informational purposes. Sharky does not often go and check on the misses, but sometimes in cases like this he would.
Okay.
Because it's, you know, it is exceedingly painful what happened.
Well, yeah. And am I right that she lives in was it 6 Towers? Or
it's yeah, I think it was hang on. Brain realigning. This is, I think it's 6 Towers. Yeah, I think I'm looking at the. Yeah, I think
so. Yeah,
that was
you
where
make your
we
way over
lived.
there, and
yeah.
things are You see movement. You recognize her silhouette behind the curtains.
Okay.
She appears to be alone.
Where is she? Is like our old apartments or something, or is it?
No, she's living in a different place now.
Yeah.
Down the street. Definitely smaller.
Not a ghost.
Not a ghost as far
Just
as you know.
divorced.
To the best of your knowledge, she is not a ghost.
Wait, what?
No, not a ghost. Yes.
No. So to be clear, I think I did say in the backstory that Sharky's wife died as a result of.
Oh, I missed that. Well, in that case,
Okay, she is a ghost.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I forgot that. Well,
Yes.
in that case, no, she's merely haunting the place.
Okay, that's good. Okay,
It is your
that
old
was
apartment.
the.
I apologize. It is your old
Yeah.
apartment, and she's haunting it. I forgot.
Okay,
Sorry
all
about
right.
that.
That was the thing. That was part of the whole thing where it's like when they kicked him out of the university.
Yeah.
They
I remember that
couldn't
now.
get
Sorry
support
about
for it.
that.
I can't remember. I can't remember clearly what I said during session 0, but I think it was she had some sort of condition that.
That's exactly what it was.
She was not able to. They weren't with him. Them kicking him out of the university and everything. He wasn't able.
Yeah,
to
you can still perceive her
get
in the room where
what
she
she
died.
needed.
In fact, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think it's. I don't think a lot is said. I'm not going to necessarily break into the apartment unless it's like a hollowed out place that you can like wander over. And
No, I think some new professor is living there now.
Yeah. So this is just going to be one of those things where he's just going to just stand on the street and watch her for a while, and
while sad music plays.
While sad music plays,
yes.
And he's just very glad that he's very glad that that she's still there. In fact, I think that there is a. Oh damn it! Why do I get these ideas? There is a point where he will probably as if he's got if he's got the devil's ear nearby, he will do this thing. And normally you don't do this. Normally you don't ever do this with this device. But like speakers, you can send. and he's just going to be. It's just going to be a very, very light. Little bit, only audible in the ghost field, obviously, unless you have another one of these. And it's just going to be just a thing of to take care, my dear. Stay inside. Stay low. I could not bear it if they took you. I am still here. And I am still teaching. And I will continue to do so as long as I can. And that's all he's going to say. He's not going to push it, man. He's going to then he's just walk away.
In the distance, you think you hear her voice singing a lullaby.
And yeah, no, he's gonna one of those things. And as anyone who sees him that evening will basically see him just sort of drifting along with a sad smile on his face, humming a lullaby.
Jim, what's the wife's name?
That's a great question. I've been looking. And
Alda.
no, it's not. I was looking, and I think we're gonna go with Verity.
Ooh, a good one. I like that.
Hmm.
Well, unless anyone has anything else, I think that's a good place to end it. All right.
Awesome. Well, thank you all very much for watching. I very much appreciate it. Sorry, I have to switch my brain back. Wasn't expecting to do that. Thank you all very much. We're going to go ahead and go around and say hi to everybody. Perhaps it will. I can see that question there. Did they have children? Perhaps that will be revealed at some point. Perhaps. We shall see. There is a possibility. But we haven't spoken of them yet. But we're going to go ahead and go around and do our outros. Feel free to tell folks where they can find you. Feel free to plug anything you like and give any final thoughts you have about this session. And we will start with our GM, Brian.
First off, thanks to all of you for playing again. This was a lot of fun. I'm Brian. You can find me at Vaclam on most of the social medias. It's Malcav backwards for my fellow White Wolf players. And also, I'm one of the co-hosts of the Infectious Enthusiasm podcast, and I think that's coming up in the chat. So feel free to check us out there. And as far as the session goes, this is the most fun I've had doing downtime in any of these Forge of the Dark games I've played. So thanks a lot. That was awesome. You all came up with such cool stuff. And it was all I could do to take enough notes to make sure I'm ready for next time. So thank you.
Yay! Awesome. And we're going to go ahead and head over to Hollow.
Hey, I'm Hollow. You can find me here on Sundays. Not this coming Sunday though, because people are doing the thing.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
But you can find me playing in Jim's reskinning Alas for the Awful. And that's it.
Yay! Excellent. And now we will head over to Noctua.
I I'm Noctua. You can find me over on Blue Sky as Noctua Magna. For stuff coming up, I don't have a currently streamed game, but I'm participating in a test play of Hearts of Camelot, which will eventually be up on YouTube eventually, and that's happening over at Madeline Colley's channel. So far, it's been so much fun. There is so much pining, and we're only like 2 episodes in. It's great. All right, that's me.
Excellent, excellent. And finally, over to Speedy.
Hello, my name is Speedy. I have been Grift. You can find me on the internet as Not So Speedruns. I'm not doing much else right now, but if you want to find out if I ever do anything else, that is the place where you will find it. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is a great session.
Excellent, excellent. Well, that leaves me. I am Jim. What do I know about myself? Very little, really, even now. But you can find me at OtherDoc on Twitch, YouTube, and most social media platforms. Wherever I'm not OtherDoc, I'm Jim Yes That Jim. My website is jimyesthatjim.com, where you can find my Geek Observation podcast and links to my various other podcasts, audio dramas, writings, and such. Down below, you can access my website, social media links, YouTube channel, and various other things. Yes, this Sunday is Easter, so we will not be playing Alas for the Angry Void this Sunday, but we will do it one Sunday hence from that. It is so we can check that out then as we do our Gothic sci-fi campaign, which has been getting interesting, I think. And then, of course, on Thursdays, we have this. I also, this coming a week from today, with any luck, if Lucci's back beforehand that afternoon, we'll be playing a little Deadline, the old Infocom text adventure. See if we can get any further in that. And then that evening, Blades in the Dark. So very much looking forward to that as well. I don't have much else to announce right now. One-shots are happening near the end of April. I'll talk more about them when we get closer to that. And other thoughts of things are in the works. So we shall see. But in the meantime, we may possibly, when we hit the end card, go and send a raid to somebody. There are a few folks who are streaming right now, and I'm just sort of trying to figure out, playing that game of, are they about to stop streaming? I don't know. We have to check. So there are a few different candidates. We'll go and say hi to one of them. Feel free to hang on if you're so inclined and say hi to them with us. That, again, will be when we hit the end card. In the meantime, folks, thank you all very much for watching. Take care, and we will catch you next time. Farewell.